Um, Today is our Hump Day Healthy Habits that Mandy and I will be bringing to you. Um, we did one last week, started this session last week, and we went over sleep and some of the positives and negatives about sleep and hygiene and stuff like that. And today we're going to go over hydration. Uh, and so I'll go over some important information, some facts. So that'll be the boring part real quick. And then we'll go over and show you how it ties into fitness. And then I'm going to present you with a challenge at the end. So at any time, if you get sick of hearing me talk, just fast forward to the end, to the challenge part, and at least do the challenge. So I always like to say, so it's kind of like the UPS slogan, right? What can brown do for you? So like, what can water do for you? And so here's the boring part, right? But it's essential. It plays essential functions in our body, right? A couple of them that I have listed here. It forms saliva, which aids in our digestion. Regulates our body temperature for sweating and respiration. Really cool when it acts as a shock absorber for our brain and our spine. And I'll explain why it does that here in a minute. It helps deliver oxygen and nutrients all over the body and to the body, and lubricates our joints, just to name a few. It's also needed by the brain to manufacture hormones and neurotransmitters. So that's the boring part. Thanks for sticking with me through that. Did you know that our body is made up of like 75 to 85% water? Huge amount. And so the brain is 75 to 80. Our blood is 80 to 90% water. Our heart, 75% water. Muscles, 75%. Liver, kidneys, about 85 to 90% water. And our bones, even our bones, strong bones are even 22% water. So it's just crazy to understand, or to really think about it, how much water is involved in us, right? Is a part of us. So here's a cool statistic too, or we do know this as a fact. We can survive for weeks without food, but only a couple days without water. So I can't stress the importance of it enough, and that's how we're going to kind of tie this hydration thing over into fitness. Now, you don't necessarily have to just drink fluids. Drink your water to get the water. You can eat it as well, like through some watery foods, such as your soup, your yogurt, watermelon, fruits. Oranges are like 90% water, salads. So you can get some of the intake through foods as well. So again, I told you I keep it short and sweet. So we're going to move on to how much do you need per day, right? So I know that there's no scientific research backing the fact of 8 glasses of 8 ounces per day, right? That's just I think it's a great number to try and get, but there's no scientific research behind it. I like to do half of my body weight. And the reason I do that, it's more than that 8 ounces of 8 glasses of 8 ounces, but it's gauging my activity level as well, because I like my activity level is higher than, let's just say, the average Joe. And so obviously our water intake would need to increase as well. And I'm going to go over some exact numbers with that for you in a minute. Really cool fact. Another way to measure it, instead of actually the amount of water you intake or fluids you intake, is how often are you using the restroom, right? So they say that research shows that 2 to 4 hours, every 2 to 4 hours, you should be using the restroom. And that's another way to show that you're properly hydrated. So how can we tie it into fitness? The American College of Sports Medicine recommends that we should have, on top of the, let's say, 64 ounces of water or whatever it is, you should have at least, before you exercise, a bottled water. So 16 ounces of water. During your exercise, 4 to 8 ounces of water. And after your exercise, another 16 ounces of water. How many of you are drinking that much water? Raise your hand. Oh, get out of here. See, and she probably is though. No, and that's great. And if you do, perfect. And I'm going to take it a little bit further, right? So instead of just what we do in college sports and in pro sports, the best way to figure out dehydration and whether you're getting enough water or properly hydrated is by weighing yourself. It's simple, right? Before you work out, let's say as the sun, as it's starting to heat up and we go outside and do some workouts outside, right? Obviously, we're going to sweat more. We're going to lose more weight. Even if we're in the gym and now we're doing all this virtual stuff. So we're burning. I mean, we're sweating so much doing all this high intensity stuff. It's crucial. A crucial way to understand hydration is to weigh yourself before and after. And it's really simple. For every pound, so let's say you weigh yourself before and then afterwards, for every pound that you lose, 16 to 20 ounces of fluid will achieve a normal fluid state. So really simple. If I'm weighing 100 pounds and now I'm 97, that's probably, if I'm just drinking water, I mean, obviously you're going to lose electrolytes and stuff like that too, but I'm just going to use a water bottle here. 16 to 20 ounces, 3 bottles of those will over time return you to that normal state. That's rehydration. So that's kind of how we tie it into fitness and the programming that you guys are watching us do. We're always going to stress that you be hydrated beforehand, during, and after. So here's the challenge that I want to challenge you guys with. So I don't know if I can get Mandy to interact here. She's got me muted or not. So I want you to think about sleep, right? How many hours of sleep do you get per day? On a healthy, what would a healthy sleep schedule be for you? How many hours of sleep per night?
I wish it was more, but it's usually like 6.5 hours to 7.
Sure. Okay. So we'll use Mandy as an example here. So 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep. What are we missing during that 6.5 to 7 hours? What are we missing? And it's simple. We've been talking about it the whole time, or I've been running my mouth the entire time. What are we missing? Water. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So we're missing water. Okay. So what happens is when we wake up in the morning, we are dehydrated from the lack of our water intake throughout the night. So when we first wake up in the morning, it's time to tackle this day, whatever you guys are doing for the rest of the day, instead of trying to tackle it in a dehydrated state of mind. Why not? Here's the challenge. First thing you do when you wake up in the morning, drink some water, right? So I've got my 2 water bottles in the bathroom, kind of lukewarm. I like the temperature, room temperature water because I can down it faster. But I'm going to recommend you to drink a bottled water to start your day. And maybe not the whole bottle of water at first because it's going to take a little bit. It's kind of hard to gut that in the morning. So what I did a couple months ago when I started this, I started with just 8 ounces of water. So it's much easier for me to kind of hold it in, get it down first thing in the morning. And it has made a huge difference for me. And science shows that it would make a difference for you too. Instead of being dehydrated and playing catch up all day, now you're starting your day ahead. So that's my challenge to you guys. If you are watching this, I'm glad you skipped to the end and missed all that other stuff. But do it. Try it. I promise you. And that's our habit. That's the healthy habit that we want you guys to do from this week. And usually, talking about habits, it takes a while to develop it, right? So over the next 2 weeks, let's do the 8 ounces, right? Let's do 8 ounces every morning, 2 weeks. After that, as your body starts becoming acclimated to that and doing that every morning, then let's up that intake, right? That's one way we can adjust water. Obviously, the overall consumption throughout the day, we can adjust it there. That'll be another habit down the road. But let's do this one first. Let's start out the day 8 ounces of water. Lukewarm, cold, ice cold, however you want it. It gives me a brain freeze if I did it with ice cold. So I prefer it room temperature. Let me know if it works for you and how you like it.
And what I started doing, just to throw something else out there, is if you're cutting calories or you're counting calories, and sometimes, you eat really fast like I do, and you don't give your body a chance to catch up and say yes, sending the hormone that you are full. I started drinking, either a bottle or a cup of water before I even eat, just so I can slow down myself and that my body can catch up, because I might think that I'm hungry, but I'm really not. And 4 key things to pull away from hydration for today is that water improves physical performance through hydration, which is what Josh has said. It helps boost brain performance, and it helps with avoiding sickness too, with people, being extra cautious right now. Making sure that you're hydrated and drinking a lot of water will help prevent sicknesses.
Oh yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I love that. I'm glad you brought that up. It's hard to hit all the points. I mean, we really could go over this hydration and water thing for probably the next. I could probably talk. I could probably talk for about a week straight without taking a breath or water. But we could talk even longer about the benefits of it and being hydrated and how it'll help with weight loss. I mean, it goes into kind of like Mandy was saying, drinking a cup before you eat. It has so many benefits. I mean, just because we are all water. I mean, we're dang near all water. So it's got so many benefits. Feel free to email us, text us, get on here, and we'd love to talk about it more. But without further ado, at least take on that challenge and see if you can down that little bit of water every morning, and tell me, I promise you, it'll make a difference.
Challenge accepted.
Cool. All righty. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.